I was just watching a video about someone who was a neurosurgeon and he is no longer a neurosurgeon. And if you don't know what a neurosurgeon is, they're the people that work on the brain or the spine. He's a lot smarter than me, I have no clue. But long story short, what he was saying was what he was doing was fixing a problem that could be prevented. And if that thing isn't prevented or isn't looked after, he would then have to do another surgery, right? And what he would say is that the way our hospitals are built most around the world, they are for profit, right, to make money. And if you give the free solutions to the people that are ill or sick or whatever, then the hospital wouldn't make money, and that's bad for business. And he, I think, had a moral standpoint of like, nah, this is not what I became a neurosurgeon for. And he has this big video. You might have seen. I think it's like Oogie Boogie or I don't know, Gooby and Doobie or something. Not too sure, but it's a massive video. It's 18 million views, and I was sitting here now. I have no clue about hospitals. I've barely ever stepped into one. I'm scared of them, quite frankly. And I have no understanding of the biology or anything like that in his world, right? I have no clue about. But what I can relate to him on is preventing, right? That what he's arguing is we should learn to prevent these situations instead of trying to do a quick fix on them, right? That's kind of what he's saying. And I agree. I agree with him because it's the same problem I have with crime here in England, where so many kids, mainly the biggest problem for me is kids stabbing other kids. And I look at that and I see that there's the quick fix of send to prison for life, forget about them, whatever. But we could just prevent them from picking up the knife in the first place. Why don't we? Why don't we focus on the real problem of actually preventing that kid from getting a knife in his hands in the first place, right? And I feel it. I feel the pain and upset that he has through the camera because, you know, he's been at this for years, man, for years, and he thinks he's helping people, and he's doing it because that's what he wants to do, and then he gets to a point where he goes, am I really helping them, or is it just what they do in their own time that kind of depends on what happens in their life, right? And I think it's different for like, I think he was talking about, you know, putting a new arm on someone, like a bionic arm and stuff, and that's what he wanted to do because, like, if someone's born without an arm, what can they do? They can't grow it back, you know. And then giving them an arm, that's actually helping them, right? Whereas, again, what he was talking about with back problems, he would talk about how he'd have two people, same situation, he'd fix them both. One would go off, smoke, drink, no family connections, no networking between healthy connections, sit on the couch all day, and then the other one, healthy, going out, exercising, eating clean, all these good things, right? Less stress. And what would happen is this person would get ill again and would need another surgery 6 months to a year down the line, and this one would, you know, pretty much be fine. And he would look at that and go, wow, like, am I really doing anything? Now, I think he still is doing something, right? Because at the end of the day, this person here might not heal without that surgery, right? But I think for him, he knows more. You know, he was in it for so many years. He knows what he's looking at. So if he feels that he ain't doing anything or nothing of big significance in the way that he wanted to, then that is the reality of things. But it's upsetting because you get into this spot where you realise that what you're doing is a quick fix, but it ain't preventing the big problem at hand. When realistically we should be, you know, it's upsetting because, you know, he's talking about it, and it's like, you know, he was saying, oh well, the hospital needs to make money, and then and this and that. I'm like, right, like life is really, especially in America and England and a couple other countries in this world, it is just all about making money, man. Like, what are we doing here? Like, really, it blows my mind. That is so much just about money, right? I always take it back to like a little village, right? Like you've got your, in your little village, you've got maybe the leader, you've got, the soldiers, and you've got the medics and stuff like that, right? Everyone's just working together, right? The soldiers protect the village, the medics heal, and then you have the middle-aged people there, the workers, the farmers. You've got the leader that actually takes initiative and helps people to organize the whole place and put it all together, right? And it's like, money was never involved there. It was just trade for trade, You'd go to whatever it is, you'd get your food here and your medicine here, and you'd have your protection here, and they'd get, and it was everyone working together. It wasn't just this massive money person. Like, could you imagine where money would be involved in this? Let's say there's 100 people in a village, and there's 2 people that have 90% of the wealth, and they don't need anything. They've got everything, right? What happens? Nothing happens because everyone's relying on money to do a favor for each other, and because these guys got 9% of it, these guys can't spend it like a normal village could, like where they're just trading back and forth and everything's flowing and everyone's happy and favors are flowing. Like, could you imagine that? And that's what's happening in the world right now. You've got probably about let's say 10,000 people in this world that hold like 90% of the wealth easily holding 90% of the wealth. That is crazy. Do you know what? Let me Google it. So the top 1% in wealth control approximately is 43.4% of the world's wealth. What are we doing? The richest 1% nearly own nearly 53% of all the wealth, while globally they control 45% of all the wealth. What are we doing? How is that? Why is that divided like that? That's insane. Do you know how much money that is between? What's going on? Like, what are we doing here? Like that. Look, even at a 20%, right, of the top 1%, 20%. You're leaving half of the money out. Like, half of the money is just in pockets of people that will never spend it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, let's say we have 20 trillion. No, we don't have 20 trillion rocking around the world, going around the world. No, we have 10. We have 10 trillion, right, around the world. Because of the top 1%, you meet a rich person, yeah, a lot of their money is in their businesses, making them more money, or it is just stored away. It's just stored away, just chilling somewhere, right? That blows my mind. That 50% of our favors we cannot use. 50% of it is just sitting there, and no one's spending it. No one's exchanging it. And if it is being exchanged, it's being exchanged with another person that's at the top percent anyway. So it doesn't come back down. It only goes up. For me, I don't want this to be turned into a rant of money, but honestly, there needs to be a cap. There needs to be, at one point, there needs to be a cap where you cannot just grow an exponential amount of wealth just constantly growing. What are we doing here? Oh, it's 2 magpies, that's cute. It's good luck. The richest 1% own nearly 53% of all wealth, while globally they control about 45% of all wealth. This is crazy. So you're telling me the top 1%, let's just say about 50%, they own 50% of the whole wealth. So if all the money in the world was piled up into one pot, and let's say we had 10 trillion, right? Let's just say that. Boom, cut 5 trillion and just burn it. Just burn it over here. That's what's happening, basically. Because the people that have all the money in the world, a lot of them won't spend it in their lifetime, right? It will just be sitting there in their banks, or they'll be trading and moving things around with someone else that has just as much money. So it doesn't go nowhere. It just stays up here, just trading up here, but it never comes back down. You might as well just keep it in the bank, right? It's the same place. Going into someone else's bank and going into your bank. If you're a billionaire and I'm a billionaire and I give 20 million to you, it doesn't matter where it is. It's still in a billionaire's, someone that's not going to spend it. The favors are being stored up so much that no one can even there are, it blows my mind to this day that someone can rock around with a watch that does the same thing as my phone, yeah? My phone costs 100 quid. Someone will have a watch for 10 million on their on their wrist. It doesn't do anything except tell them the time. All it does is tell them the time. And they sit there and they really can accept that is a better use of their money than giving homes to a poor family or giving food to a starving child there's so many better uses of your money, right? 10 million on your wrist. What? Does that really compute in your head that that's an okay thing to do? It blows my mind. And again, I know that rich people ain't evil, yeah? Some are and some are not, just like poor people. Some are evil, some are not. Some do bad things, some don't. But when I see that, and they haven't been enlightened, especially someone that's grown up poor, it blows my mind that anything like that could be on your person and you be okay with it. It's just so upsetting. I didn't want this to be turned into a rant about money, but here we are. I think the problem isn't with people. Most people want wealth and most people want to be rich. I can understand it. It gives you so many things, right? I think the problem's within the system, right? I think there should be a limit to how much you can make. Because at one point, you're going to make so much money in this world that you can't spend it. You buy as many boats, cars, jets, islands, and castles you want. You will not be able to spend it all. This is it's impossible. You get to a point where you cannot spend it. You just have infinite money. And I think that is a problem when you have a kid starving, no roof over their head, no one to look after them. I think that's a problem. A really, really big problem. And I think that needs to be fixed. I don't know why this turned into a rant about money, but here we are. Okay, I'm gonna go and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.